This afternoon, we are so honored to have Mr. Joel Johnson, President and CEO of the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. He's going to lead us in a talk on seafood sanctuaries and a healthy America. Joel, come on up.
Everybody hear me okay? Turn on this microphone. We're good? Yes. All right, well, good afternoon. That was a delicious, absolutely delicious lunch. Thank you. Compliments to the chef, to all the donors who provided such an incredible feast for us. I want to start by saying thank you to Linda, of course, and the Seafood Nutrition Partnership, and all the sponsors who have made this incredible summit possible. This is the 9th year, which is incredible. And also take a moment to wish you all a happy aquaculture week. I don't know if you all knew that. Yes. Right, give it up for me. Happy aquaculture week. That's right, wild and farmed all coming together. So why am I here? First of all, my name is Joel Johnson. I'm President and CEO of the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. We're going to talk about a kickoff powered by seafood that's going to extend into the conversations later on this afternoon about behavior change, really, right? Ways in which we can drive the deeper engagement with seafood and its nutritious benefits. And I'm going to talk to you about national marine sanctuaries. Anybody here ever heard of a national marine sanctuary? That's pretty good, not bad. Okay, so if you haven't, let me just briefly tell you in a nutshell what they are. Everyone's familiar with Yellowstone National Park, right? That usually gets 100% of it. So just think about that in the ocean and our Great Lakes. National marine sanctuaries are America's underwater national parks, and they are developed in consultation with the local communities, nominated and designated, and then managed by NOAA. They have superintendent, just like your other national parks. They work closely, in fact, many of them are adjacent to national parks. And what they do is they protect marine resources of significant value to the local community and to all Americans. And they can include shipwrecks, they can include coral reefs, kelp forests, humpback whales, fisheries, and you can find them on the East Coast, West Coast, in the Pacific, as well, some 629,000 square miles of your public waters. Just like we talk about our public lands, your public waters. And they are managed for compatible and multiple use. And that's going to be key here as I talk about a strategy to help improve the outcomes for health in America. So we're here today because we share a mission to make America healthier, or frankly, just make people healthy, right? And what better way to do this than through America's seafood? Seafood is America's original health food, high protein, low fat, packed with nutrients, right? But it's also something bigger. It's jobs, it's culture, it's communities, and it's a chance to show the world what American industry and sustainable stewardship can do when we work together. That's what the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation calls Waters for All. Waters for All is a promise that our national marine sanctuaries serve local communities, coastal communities, fishermen, families, visitors. And we do that not just for today, but we do it for generations to come. And for me, this is personal. This is a picture of Cleveland from Lake Erie. This is where I grew up. I grew up in the inner city. And my family had access to seafood's nutritious benefits because my father was a fisherman, a recreational fisherman. He fished for walleye and perch, and he put that on our dinner table. And frankly, it helped beat back food insecurity in our family. It also was a source of sustenance. All 4 of my siblings graduated from Ivy League colleges and universities. Not me, I'll be the black sheep of the family. But it's clear seafood nourished us in ways that went far beyond the dinner table. The new administration has made it clear through executive orders, like restoring American seafood competitiveness, that the U.S. will lead the world in producing, processing, and promoting seafood. We will build markets, we will strengthen supply chains, and we will protect the marine resources that make it all possible. But there's a big if. if we have the courage to ensure we do it sustainably. We do not leave anyone behind. Back to Basics Nutrition begins with helping more Americans understand seafood is not just a nutritious food, but it's also part of our marine heritage. It's kind of at the root of American prosperity. So yes, we talked about it this morning. The science is pretty clear. A diet rich in seafood helps prevent heart disease, it supports brain development, but it also builds stronger families. Sustainably sourced, it strengthens our workforce and it reduces long-term health costs overall. And as I shared, it can reduce food insecurity. And that's not just nutrition, that's true national strength, not just wonkish policy and rhetoric. So when Americans eat more seafood, they're not making just a healthy choice for themselves, they're making a healthy choice to strengthen America's fishery and the communities that rely on it. And importantly, when Americans visit their public waters to go fishing or swimming, boating, kayaking, whale watching, diving, or just to take a walk on the beach, they're part of that health story too. They're making their own lives healthier while also bringing economic benefits to the gateway communities that depend on working waterfronts and visitors who come to experience those waters. So here's, as I said, some good news. America's seafood story is anchored in America's waters, which are vast, our fisheries, which overlap those waters, and then a small portion of conservation areas known as national marine sanctuaries. And some of these sanctuaries, as you can see on the map, are spread out throughout the country. There's a couple in the Great Lakes. And they all contribute, as I said, to doing a lot of things. They safeguard ecosystems and they safeguard cultures, fishing towns and communities, tribal traditions for those tribes that are and the areas are adjacent, family-owned boats, working waterfronts, all those things that strengthen a coastal community, which ultimately lead back to how we are going to deliver the benefits of nutritious seafood. Every sanctuary, as I said earlier, is managed by NOAA with a very clear process. These include condition reports that track the health of ecosystems, management plans that explicitly consider commercial fishing in consultation with local communities. One of the powerful things about national marine sanctuaries is that they all have sanctuary advisory councils with dedicated seats for local fishermen on those councils. And they inform those management plans. That's a great strategy to balance conservation and, frankly, respect for our oceans and the public waters that belong to all of us. But carefully manage access that center people and balance that resource. So I'm going to give you a few examples. In Stellwagen Bank off of the Massachusetts Bay, this area supports a thriving scallop and lobster fishery. NOAA and the industry work together on all kinds of brilliant and innovative programs. One of the programs I really love is the Scallop Research Set-Aside Program. This brilliant strategy actually is a unique program that sets aside scallops that can be harvested by researchers to generate the funds that go back into that research through grants. And it's produced incredible things like biomass surveys and other types of really innovative research that informs those fisheries. On the West Coast, the Greater Farallones and Cordell Banks sustain a valuable Dungeness crab and salmon fishery, rockfish as well. Monterey Bay, anyone been to Monterey Bay and know the story of Monterey Bay? Monterey Bay, boy, that fishery was in decline for so many years. But after it became a national marine sanctuary, better resource management and promotion, we saw a really fantastic rebound of the wildlife there. Still a lot of challenges, but it's an incredible place to visit. Monterey Bay has one of the nation's largest squid fleets. Pretty impressive. You go to the southeast of the Gulf, Florida Keys anchors spiny lobster. Okay, this is something that people travel from all over the country to go into the Keys. They snorkel and they grab those spiny lobsters, they take it home, they feed their families. It's a great recreational and commercial fishery. Flower Garden Banks in the Gulf supports reef-associated fisheries where we're taking derelict oil rigs, which are great attractors to fishing as species, and turning those into places where recreational anglers can go, and even some who have commercial licenses can go harvest that fish, bring it back to their local fish market, and then sell it. Places like Grays Reef off the coast of Georgia, this is an interesting one. It's a beautiful reef, but it's several dozens of feet down. It's carefully regulated for recreational harvest only, but also fun fishing. And why do I mention that? Because fun fishing is a way to build a connection with the resource that can sustain our love and respect for seafood. Okay, and I encourage you to think about beyond just commercial fishing, how the role of recreational fishing and it can play in driving new habits. In the Pacific Islands, places like Hawaiian Islands, Humpback National Marine Sanctuary, one that's specifically dedicated to conserving the whale, there is managed in partnership with the state, NOAA, and elders from the Hawaiian community. Places like American Samoa, there's a fabulous tuna and bottomfish grounds. These are actively managed with zones designed to protect stocks through longline fishing. And in the Great Lakes, Thunder Bay, it also contributes to state and tribal fisheries. You've got incredible fish, I mentioned before, walleye, that thousands of people locally rely on and put on their dinner plate. And obviously that contributes to their overall health. Under NOAA's management, sanctuaries really just don't protect fish. I mean, you kind of see my point here. They power gateway economies where fishermen, visitors, and coastal communities and businesses can all come together to benefit from healthy, productive waters. And at the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, we are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with NOAA Fisheries and the NOAA National Marine Sanctuaries and the fishing industry to make that vision real. We are investing in things like ropeless gear innovation in California. Ropeless gear is going to keep Dungeness crab fishermen fishing and not having to lose expensive crab pots, and also not having to deal with entanglement of whales or other marine mammals that come by. It's a fabulous program. And it's a real example that is unique to sanctuaries. They're sources of solutions. And no offense to my friends at the National Park Service, but Yellowstone can't do this. And, you know, we get a sense that challenging real world conditions that we're facing and putting our fisheries at threat are also driving innovation, and we're going to test it. So it can be done in places like sanctuaries. So another significant strategy that we have at the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation is marine debris removal. Through marine debris removal, we are pulling thousands of derelict traps and nets from the water so fish stocks can rebound and fish habitats and nurseries can be restored. We also, through our partner at Gulf Fisheries, have been able to sponsor the Seafood Nutrition Partnership for several years, helping to create a seafood toolkit for registered dietitians. During COVID, when America needed reassurance, we helped to invest $250,000 in the Eat Seafood America campaign. And we recently were able to renew our sponsorship because we believe seafood belongs at the center of America's health strategy. So we also support the Gulf of Maine Research Institute's Marine Resource Education Program. I really love this one. This grant allows fishermen to get involved in the federal regulatory process, gives them a voice, brings them to the table. And that's about respect. Respect. That and trust build partnership. And we're going to need all those things if we are going to drive the benefits of seafood as a nutritious source. So for many years, the foundation has also proudly sponsored the Department of Commerce's Fish Fry. And this is the hottest ticket in town in Washington, D.C., if you can get it. And it's an opportunity to mingle with fishermen from all over the country, tribal nations, policymakers, and the public, come together once a year during Ocean Week, first week of June, every year in Washington, D.C., to taste and talk and remember why American seafood matters. So everywhere we work to keep gateway communities, making sure that those local economies can benefit from the sanctuaries, that coastal cultures are strengthened, not displaced, and that sanctuaries can remain real engines of opportunity. You know, overall, the programs we have are vast. We have dozens and dozens of programs at National Sanctuary Foundation, but I want to highlight a couple that I'm particularly proud of. One is the Gold Clean Seas program in Florida Keys. So Florida Keys National Sanctuary, about 4,000 square miles. We combine debris removal and coral restoration to rebuild lobster and stone crab grounds. And then our trap removal project clears thousands of derelict ghost traps. Ghost traps are when a crab trap or a lobster trap is basically lost. And when I say lost, they get lost in the thousands every year. And that has a real impact on the environment. And so being able to remove that debris can help to restore that critical habitat in that fishery. And what I love about this program is that we work in partnership with the public through regenerative tourism. So that is, we invite the public to work with blue sky dive operators to come to Florida Keys and dive with us as we remove those traps. We take their vacation and we add some purpose to it. A wonderful way of connecting people. And I'm very proud, of course, of something that's new for us. We've been adding over the last couple of years recreational fishing clinics in the sanctuaries to help raise up the next generation of anglers. And this is a prime opportunity for us to build a relationship with seafood, with these young folks and these families who come out to sanctuaries like Florida Keys and Thunder Bay. They're first-time visitors and they're learning a lot of new outdoor skills, but through our research, we found that we're making an impact. They say that this experience overall improved their well-being and inspired them to return. I think we ought to add a question there, and you can, really considering seafood for your next meeting. So these clinics directly support gateway communities. They bring people into the sanctuaries to fish, learn, and invest in their local economy. So the last example I want to share with you is something that we just recently did. We're immensely proud of it. The restoration of the ancestral waters of the Kaw tribe off of the Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary. They're one of several treaty tribes in partnership with the U.S. to steward these incredible waters off the Olympic Coast in Washington. We worked with the tribe to remove thousands of tons of marine debris. So in this bay, Neah Bay, there was literally a piece of highway that had been dumped there. It was being towed away to be dismantled, but grounded right in the middle of their bay. So this bay was a place where they harvested crab, clams, other type of seafood, and it really impacted the fleet there. For the Makah, their commercial and their subsistence harvests in the Olympic National Marine Sanctuary and beyond, which includes salmon, halibut, crab, and black cod, their cultural identity is inseparable from the ocean. They just are one and the same, and they describe themselves as ocean hunters. So when we finished, as we were doing this project, we actually filmed it. And we created a film called Neah Bay, Restoring Ancestral Waters, that captures this story about how marine debris removal is not just about clearing shorelines, but about sustaining seafood, livelihoods, and traditions for generations to come. We're not going to show you a clip here, but I encourage you to go online and watch the film where it's widely available, Neah Bay, Restoring Ancestral Waters, and check it out. It's really moving. So, my call to action. Okay, as I come in here to the close, I want to ask you, all of you who are attending the summit, both here in person and online, to really think about how we can join together across disciplines, across sectors. Whether you are a company or a nonprofit organization, a scientist, a dietitian, a policymaker, we really need to come together to promote U.S. seafood as central to our Make America Healthy Again strategy, to invest in places like national marine sanctuaries and fisheries as economic drivers that can educate the next seafood lover while protecting our fishing and maritime heritage, right? And invest in the innovative technologies that can keep commercial fishermen competitive and sustainable, and support education and outreach programs like Linda's that will link seafood nutrition with the sanctuary gateway communities and communities all across the U.S. We have to be smart about it. Back to Basics Nutrition is based on sound scientific consensus. And then many of these policies are decades in the making. I love that as a community, we're challenging some of those things because that's the source of innovation. And clearly, we have some work to do on the federal regulatory side. But at the core, scientific consensus is what drives this work, evidence-based decision-making in the face of changing planetary conditions. We have to continue to also honor our promises, right? To the treaty tribes and the local communities that we've worked with for many, many years. And we really can't discard those relationships in the name of progress, because trust is what's going to get us to the next generation of seafood growth. When we do this, we don't just protect fish, we protect families, we protect communities, we protect the future of the American seafood industry. So earlier, Leslie said something that really struck a chord with me. If the food doesn't taste good, it won't get eaten. And it's just another way to say, we really need to find more ways to challenge people to see the appeal in connecting to seafood. For me, I think I'm telling you that We have an opportunity to connect people to the source. And that's a strategy that we ought to consider. As I think about the next generation, I think about, for example, my 12-year-old daughter. She loves the outdoors and being on the water. She learned to fish from me. She loves going to the beach, but she's not a big fan of sea. No surprise. But, you know, I've taken her crabbing in the Chesapeake Bay every summer. And now she's developed a real love for Maryland crab cakes. So I'm very proud of that. And she also sees, though, that the ocean is changing, right? And she worries about it. She worries about the health of our waters. Access to nature creates good habits and a conservation mindset. And that's how we build the next generation of seafood leaders, ocean stewards. So let me close by saying, I believe America can and will lead the world in seafood. Right now, I believe we're 20th in global marine resource production. Yet we have the largest available waters to enjoy. We can do this not just in volume, however, but in values. Not just in profit, but in purpose. Places like marine sanctuaries, these living laboratories with fishermen and coastal communities as our partners, with gateway communities as our backbone, and with companies and organizations like yours, we can champion and secure healthy oceans, healthy people, and a healthier America. That is the promise of Waters for All, your national needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. I think we have a couple minutes for questions, both in person or online. Oh, Dr. Joe Hiblin, you have a question? And I'll come up. Oh, Mike is coming.
Considering the importance of getting people outside, it really struck me that had you connected with scouting, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in America to connect those generations to seafood and to your oceans.
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you, Dr. Joe. One of the really powerful things about sanctuary communities is they are made up of local groups, often volunteers, of different kinds. And Boy Scouts of America, now I think it's called the Scouts of America, has been a partner in a couple of different sanctuaries. Thinking about Florida Keys in particular, there's actually a scout camp down in the Florida Keys. And the kids come every summer and they're working on coral restoration. They actually have a small nursery on site, which is brilliant. Imagine getting a coral restoration badge. You know, and they're doing everything else. They're going fishing, they're doing bird viewing, all kinds of things. But they also spend some time working on restoration and conservation. And obviously, I hope they're eating plenty of food.
So commercial fishermen use some terrible techniques in harvesting, but there are only maybe 40,000 of them nationally. And recreational fishermen outnumber them. There are nearly 60 million. So they don't use the same techniques, but they probably are taking in a lot more fish in total. So what would you say are the three biggest conflicts and challenges that you have to weigh between those different factions that are pulling at your agendas?
That's a great question, and let me try to answer it with an example. So first of all, we're humans, we're complex. Nature is complex. The things that we love, like fishing, hunting, things that we cherish, like our public lands and waters, those are part of our national identity. And one of the things that, again, is so powerful about sanctuaries is, unlike a Yellowstone or a Katy or a Glacier, these places are special to the local communities. They're often nominated by the local community, and then they have to fight with the local community, and then collaborate with the local community, and convince and persuade the local community about their value And then they go into a long process with NOAA before they might be considered an ultimate designated. And what's brilliant about the strategy of centering communities is creating space for many different voices. And the nomination committee might include, for example, commercial fishermen and recreational fishermen. And then once a sanctuary is designated, a sanctuary advisory council has to have those voices based on the direction of the National Marine Sanctuary Act, which is a law that basically creates national marine sanctuaries, it's about 50 years old. And I love that that's written in the law. That means we can't just willy-nilly change it. We have to commit to it. The National Marine Sanctuary Foundation works on the ground in building education and outreach with partners, helping them to understand the process, but also acts as a convener and a connector. You get those folks together in the room. It's like going to a fisheries council meeting. You're in for a show, right? But at the end of the day, you know what we can rely on? Both the recreational community and the commercial community, they love that resource. So here's the example. There's a great captain down in the Gulf of America at the Flower Garden Banks National Marine Sanctuary who guides recreational anglers. He knows the waters like the back of his hand. He also is a commercial fisherman. So he cares about this resource on many different levels. He doesn't want the rec guy to come in and fill up his bag limit without walking away with an understanding of how valuable that fishery is to the local community, how it sustains the local community, and understanding the changing human impacts on those waters. I think sanctuaries provide an incredible opportunity for us to address complexity, for us to really have community-based conversations that bring all these voices together. And that's their power. And I am inviting you all as really ambassadors and leaders of the seafood community to learn more about sanctuaries and figure out how to embrace these as tools to help promote nutritious seafood, good habits, access to nature, strong community ties. You know, it's been sitting there for 50 years as a system, very little known, very little unused. And I always ask people, I make this pitch, how would you like to be the one to discover Yellowstone all over again and help make it valuable to the community? Think about that as you approach your strategies to build, a story around promoting the benefits of seafood.
Thank you, Joel, so much. Let's give him a round of applause.